Welcome to Betting with Brooke and Benny here on FTN Bets on the FTN Network for Week 11 of the NFL season. Brooke, can you believe that we're already in Week 11 here?
This is crazy. I mean, this season has flown by, and then you look what's left, and you know it's going to fly by. It's kind of making me sad already, but we're trying
Yeah.
to stay positive here. At least we've got good games this weekend.
Yeah, we do. And you know what? I mean, it's not like the season is over yet, right? We still have 2 months. They extended the season a little bit this year. They're playing an 18th week of NFL football. Everybody gets a 17th game in there. I don't think the regular season ends this year until like sometime late in January, which is a lot later than it normally does. I mean, normally we're, first week, second week of January, it's over. We're talking about playoff football. So we're going to go well deep into February here. So we still got a few more months of doing betting with Brooke and Benny. Although once the playoffs roll around, you only got 2 or 3 games to talk about. The show might get a little shorter. But for now, we got a lot of games to talk about. So let's start getting into some of these. The first one that you had on your list that you wanted to talk about is the Green Bay Packers going up against the Minnesota Vikings here. Couple interesting things to note here. The line opened at Packers favored by 2.5 on the road at -120. It's gone down on DraftKings to even money. It's gone down on BetMGM to -115, which actually means that the movement is going in favor of the Minnesota Vikings at this point in time, but very slightly. I mean, we're talking like, couple basis points here or there, not like it's a big move or anything like that. Some of it might have to do with the fact that Aaron Jones was ruled out at least for the next week or two with an MCL sprain. Supposedly they're talking to guys like Kerryon Johnson and, trying to bring in another running back there. But it looks like it's going to be the A.J. Dillon show in the backfield for them, which I don't really think is that big a deal overall. Maybe it affects the passing game a little because Aaron Jones is good catching passes out of the backfield, but A.J. Dillon is basically just like a battering ram there, right? So what are you looking at in this game? Do you think it's going to have a big effect on it? And who do you think is going to win here?
I think even with all of those injuries, at first glance, it's pretty obvious that the Packers will take home this win. But in a divisional matchup, I am never counting out the underdog. I think that in a divisional matchup, you just play harder. You need those wins. You know it. And the Vikings are coming off a win versus the Chargers that they easily outperformed in the fourth quarter. And head coach Mike Zimmer was coaching gutsy football, which I could see continuing in a very big divisional matchup this weekend. I think the Packers will win in a close one, probably cover the line. I think the best bet here is the over on the point total, which is sitting at 49. And if you did want to throw a more valued bet, I think you could throw a little at the Vikings because it's going to be close enough that you could come out victorious. But I think the safe bet here is definitely the Packers.
Yeah, whenever I see a game with a 2.5, which is what this is right here, if I like the favorite, I'm just gonna lay the 2.5. And I do like the favorite here. I like Green Bay, so I would lay the 2.5. But to Brooks' point, if you're looking to kind of juice things up a little bit here, I never want to take 2.5 points with a team. If I can't get the full field goal, I'd rather just play it on the money line. So you could get some decent value on the money line here, like -110, -115, I think is where it's at on DraftKings and BetMGM. You could actually find this as high as +110, +115. You could actually find this as high as +130 on some sites this week if you wanted to. So if you want to juice it up a little bit, you want to go against the favorite, you want to take the home team as a dog, +130 is a price that's out there in the market. So you'll be able to get that on the Vikings. So let's move on and talk about the next game here, which is I keep saying Washington Redskins. I'm not going to do it. The
Don't
Washington
do it.
football team. Yeah, the Washington football team against the Carolina Panthers here. Let's see. This opened at -2.5 on Carolina. And I mentioned this in the video on Monday with the opening line video that I actually think Carolina is a better team with Cam Newton as their quarterback right now. So if Cam Newton was the quarterback, I said it should probably cross the 3. And that's what it's done. It's gone up to -3.5 on both of these sites. So here's the word I want to get the exact quote. So I wrote this down here. Matt Rule said, Cam will be taking most of the first team practice reps this week. If he learns enough of the offense that he's able to run it, he will be our starting quarterback this week. Do you think Cam Newton is going to wind up being the starting quarterback? And if he is, do you think I think it makes Carolina better. Would you agree?
Yeah, I definitely think he will be the starting quarterback. I think they're kind of a little crazy if he's not. Just with the spark that he caused during that game, I think that you kind of give him the shot and just let it happen. This is another game that I am definitely going to start by betting the over on this game. These teams have allowed their opponents 46.6 points per game this season. That's 3.6 more than the 43-point total. Well, that was the point total I looked at last. So I would definitely start by betting the over on this game. And then Ron Rivera facing his former team, that kind of makes things fun. He's hoping to rally together his locker room for another big win. But that new spark in Carolina with Cam Newton, hopefully starting at quarterback, being back to his former team, and then Christian McCaffrey finally healthy, I wouldn't be betting against the Panthers in this game. I think if Washington is tough against the run, limits McCaffrey's impact as a pass catcher out of the backfield, Rivera and his football team may have a chance, but I'm not betting against a hungry Cam Newton and CMC. So I have the Panthers by 7 in this matchup. I'm excited to see this one too. I think that, Newton's going to have a little flair out there, and it's going to be a fun one to watch.
Yeah, I agree with you. I am on the Carolina side. Even now that we have to take it at 3.5 and give up the hook on the field goal. I loved it at 2.5 earlier in the week. I still like it right now at 3.5. I'd still want to be on that side. I mean, Cam came in the first play that he came in, he ran one into the end zone. The second time they brought him in down there by the end zone, he threw a touchdown pass to Robbie Anderson. Hopefully Cam Newton is the thing that can help unlock Robbie Anderson, because a lot of people were expecting him to have a big year, including me, who's been a big fan of him ever since he was with the New York Jets. And he is just absolutely disappointed in fantasy this year. So maybe Cam Newton is the thing that kind of gets him going, gives them another weapon there. They do have a lot of weapons on that offense right now. And, maybe Cam and his running ability is the thing that kind of unlocks the bad offensive line that they have and kind of, allows that offense to move the ball. And if it does, I think this will be a good game. And remember, Chase Young, star defensive lineman for the Washington Reds. Washington Reds. See, I did it. I told you I was trying not to do it, and I did it again for the Washington football team. Yeah. So, Chase Young, the star defensive lineman for the Washington football team, did go down with what looked like a pretty serious injury last week. So that's obviously going to make things a little bit better for the offense for Carolina this week. So let's talk about the next game here, which is a really interesting one. The New Orleans Saints against the Philadelphia Eagles. It opened with Philly being a 1.5-point favorite. I actually thought New Orleans should be favored in this game. It dropped a little bit. Philly is still favored by 1. But when we're talking points down here, like 1 point here to this team, 1 point there to this team, it's not really a big deal. Both of these teams, I think, are at least even money, if not minus money on the money line. I think on DraftKings you can still get New Orleans at even money. But how are you looking at this game, and what do you expect to happen here?
New Orleans is struggling lately, to say the least, with Trevor Siemian at the helm. I don't have much confidence in their passing game to start with, but then their receivers and tight ends aren't giving him much to work with either. So the run game is really their best option, and not so lucky for them. Alvin Kamara probably won't play, and Mark Ingram will fill in for him again. The run game racked in the second lowest mark of the season with 86 rush yards total last week with Ingram in. And the Eagles allow about 117 rush yards per game. So it's looking rough. And if Kamara's out, I have the Eagles definitely. If Kamara plays, I think he makes it a bit more difficult for the Eagles. But I mean, with the way that the Saints are playing with Trevor Siemian, I just think the Eagles win this one by 3.
Yeah, it really hasn't been good for them since Jameis went down, and then losing Alvin Kamara as well. I mean, you're just looking at a team where, all your offensive weapons, Michael Thomas has been out all year. Like, it's just really, I honestly, like, I give Sean Payton a lot of credit because he's at least making them like stay in some of these games. But when you look at the talent that they have on the offensive side of the football here, it's just not really good. So I don't know. I'm a little nervous about this one. Like I said, I am on the New Orleans side. I was at the beginning of the week. I'm sticking with it there, but I don't really feel all that good about it. So we'll see what
It's
happens.
scary game.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. All right, so let's talk about the next game here. The Cincinnati Bengals, fresh off a bye, if I'm not mistaken, taking on the Las Vegas Raiders here. Cincinnati opened the week favored by 1 point. DraftKings has it bumped up a little bit to -1.5. I think MGM still has it right at 1. What are you looking at in this game? Both teams in this game, this is another one. Both teams in this game are minus money on the money line, meaning that this is basically a coin flip right here. So which side of the coin are you landing on with this one?
Yeah, I think you're right. It's going to be a coin flip. But Bengals are coming off rested after their bye, during which everyone else in their division lost. So I think they're feeling pretty good. That always helps a little bit. And I think we'll see more of that strong Bengals team that we saw in the beginning of the year when they come out to play the Raiders. I think they'll play up to that standard. And both of these teams are in the thick of a crowded AFC playoff race. So it's a vital game for both of them. I think the Bengals have a lot more going for them this season. I think that'll carry on to the field as the Raiders might be finally hitting that downfall. They've had a struggle of a season, although I say this every week and they kind of prove me wrong and come out and play hard. So looking ahead to their schedule, though, it's looking pretty rough. So I have the Bengals in this game. I think it's going to be really, really close, but I think the Bengals pull it out. I think they're just the better team here.
Yeah, I hate betting on or against the Las Vegas Raiders because they are like one of the most Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde kind of teams that we have in the NFL. There are games where they come out and look like they could play with anybody. And then there are other games where they come out and it's like, my God, how did this team win any games this year? Like they can't move the ball on offense. And it's just so I really don't know what to do. The good thing is the books have to make a number for every game, but we don't have to put a bet on every game. So if you don't have a strong feeling about a game, you can just pass and put your money elsewhere. And that is exactly what I'm going to be doing here. I don't want to touch either side of this game with the 10-foot pole. So I'm staying away from Cincinnati, Las Vegas this week. Another game that's kind of interesting, though, we have the Arizona Cardinals going up against the Seattle Seahawks. Arizona favored by 2 currently, opened at 2.5 here. I got to be honest. We don't know what's going to happen with Kyler Murray yet. Hopefully he's in. Hopefully he's able to play. It's tough for me to really get into too much analysis here because last week Colt McCoy got hurt in that game, and they had a third string quarterback who, forgive me, I don't even remember his name, but I will tell you right now, I am not betting on the Arizona Cardinals as a favorite if Kyler Murray's not playing. If you're going to put a third string quarterback in there, I don't care if I think that their team is actually better than Seattle. You can't lay points with a third string quarterback going up against the team on the road making his first start. Like, that's just not something I'm going to do. So let's talk about this game, how you think it's going to go, how you think it's going to go with Kyler, and how you're going to think it's going to go without Kyler, because all of those things are on the table right now. So we got to know what to do.
Yeah, I think you definitely have to wait and see the news of Kyler Murray before you bet on this game, which I think most smart bettors are going to do anyways. But the thing on the other side of the ball is the Seahawks are coming off a brutal shutout. I'm sure we were all watching that versus the Packers. And Russell Wilson only completed 20 of 40 passes for 161 yards and 2 interceptions. So if he plays like that versus the Cardinals, we could be in for a very interesting game. But Chris Streveler is the name you were looking for that's going to be possibly starting for the Cardinals, who I don't even know where he went to college. I'm sorry. But these two teams, they play tough football against each other. Seattle's offense has just been inconsistent, very messy, as we saw last week. It's hard for me to believe that they'll get back on track versus one of the best defenses in the NFL right now. And if Kyler Murray is healthy, I think the Cardinals have a chance to pick up this win over Seattle's defense, who has also been completely messy. They're 31st in the NFL in total yards allowed, 29th in passing yards allowed, and 25th in rush yards allowed. But if Kyler Murray doesn't play, this offense could have a definitely slow start. It could be a low-scoring game, which is why I think I'm taking the under on this game. It's sitting at a total of 50 right now. But I'm also taking the Cardinals to win this game, but I am not betting on it until this Kyler news comes out.
Yeah, I love the under call there by you, because the other thing too about Arizona, they're very good against the pass. They're a little weak against the run though. So the path of least resistance, what you would think Seattle should be trying to do in this game, is kind of lean on the run as much as they can, and let the pass come off of play action and things like that, and kind of open up the field that way. So if that's the case, yeah, I do think it's gonna lean to the under. What I said to people earlier in the week is, listen, if Kyler is in there, then Arizona, the value is on Arizona because they should be favored by more than 2 points if Kyler's playing. If Kyler's not playing, though, then Seattle should be favored in this game. So you're still getting value right now to take Seattle at plus money. If you want to do that, you're like right now, and I hate doing this, but as a gambler, sometimes you have to, it's a gamble, right? Like that's what we do here. That's what we're talking about. You have to kind of say to yourself, all right, well, if he's out, then me getting plus 120 on Seattle. As soon as Kyler's announced out, that line is going to move, and it's going to be like Seattle -3 or Seattle -3.5 minus like 140 or 145. So you're not actually gambling on the game right now. You're basically gambling on Kyler Murray's health. So you can kind of monitor things. You can kind of watch and see if he's practicing. You can kind of monitor what the coaches are saying about whether or not he's going to play. But I kind of hate doing that because we're not really betting on the game at this point. We're kind of betting on his health status because Kyler, to me, is one of the quarterbacks in the league that's actually worth the most to his team spread. So I would think it's probably about a full touchdown difference with him in or with him out. So with him out, Seattle should be favored by about 3.5. With him in, Arizona should be favored by about 3.5. Right now, the number's sitting at 2. So you're basically given the opportunity right now to get in at a discounted price on one side or the other, depending on which way he plays. Now, do I know if he's going to play or not? No. Do I think he will? I think he will, which is why I think the value right now is on Arizona -2. But again, if he doesn't play, then the value would be on the Seattle money line. But that's the gamble that you have to take if you want to get down on it. Or, like Brooke said, you could just wait till we get the news. Just realize as soon as the news drops, every single site is going to take this game down and reprice it based on whether or not he's in there. So that's a gamble that you want to take if you're trying to get the good number now. Sometimes you win that gamble, sometimes you lose. If you win it, you get a really good number. If you lose it, you're probably going to lose your money. So just want to make sure everybody understands how that works and kind of how I'm thinking about playing that one. All right, so let's talk about the next one here. I'm going to actually save the Pittsburgh and Chargers game till the end because that's a Sunday night football game. So let's talk about Dallas and Kansas City right here. Kansas City favored by only 2.5 points in this game at home under a field goal against a Dallas team that is coming off an absolute beatdown of the Atlanta Falcons last week, 43-3. As bad as they looked 2 weeks ago, they looked awesome last week. So speaking of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, what kind of Dallas team are we going to get here? What kind of Kansas City team are we going to get here? And what's going to happen between the two?
Well, it's going to be between two potential Super Bowl contenders, which is why the point spread is so close. And I think it's going to be challenging for both of them. The Chiefs, they don't have to play on the road again until December 16th as their 3-game home stint starts. So they're looking pretty good. They're sitting happy. But they're coming off a dominant win versus their divisional rivals. And now here we go into the Dallas week. Dallas is feeling good right about now, too. They're coming off a huge win, as you said, versus the Falcons. Dak finished 25 of 33 for 308 yards and 2 scores and 3 big-time throws that got us all off our seats. The run game, that was another story in itself, very insignificant. They'll have to get Zeke active versus the Chiefs if they want to compete Sunday. But thank goodness the defense is looking stout for the Cowboys. They'll prepare to go up against Mahomes and an offense who are definitely finally getting that rhythm back. I think we're finally seeing the Mahomes and the Chiefs that we all were expecting to see this entire year. So this game is going to be another one that I'm betting the over on the 53.5 point total, but I'm also betting the Chiefs to cover and win by 7.
Yeah, I like the Chiefs to cover as well. I mean, again, it's a home team underneath the field goal right here. So I have no problem laying the 2.5 points with them. I will say this, though. I know everybody talks about Diggs and all the interceptions that he has and everything like that. But to me, the best player on that defense has been Micah Parsons this year. And I know that I'm going to give a shout out to Ray G because Ray G's been talking about this since the beginning of the year and has talked about this man quite a bit. And honestly, when you watch a Dallas Cowboys game, like the guy is everywhere. He's in the backfield on pass plays. He's in the backfield every time they're handing the ball off for a run play. He's out there in pass coverage sometimes, on tight ends and on running backs and just, getting his hands on things and making plays out there. Like I feel like the guy is in on every play right here. He's still listed as a rookie. In my opinion, he's probably the defensive rookie of the year. And I think he should even be in the conversation for overall defensive player of the year, especially if he keeps up what he's done the last couple games. So really like this Dallas defense. Dallas, you guys should be happy. You finally have a defense to go along with the offense that you've had for years and years and years, putting up all those points. And honestly, as they say, defense wins championships. So you're going to need it if you want to go on, win a couple playoff games, and maybe make some noise at, knocking on the door of a Super Bowl. So that brings us to the last game we're going to talk about here. The Pittsburgh Steelers against the Los Angeles Chargers. This is some interesting line movement. The Chargers opened up at -3.5 on DraftKings. They were -4 on BetMGM. Right now, they're up to -5 on DraftKings and -5 on 5.5 on BetMGM.
Wow.
And the thing is, I think it has a lot to do with the fact that we still don't know whether Ben Roethlisberger is going to play.
Mm-hmm.
So the word on the street right now is that it looks like Ben is going to be ready to go. there was some weird stuff at the press conference yesterday, though, where Tomlin was kind of like, well, if Ben passes the COVID protocol and is able to play, we have to see if he's healthy enough to play or ready to play or he feels good enough to play or something like that. And I kept saying to myself, it's like, well, if the guy passes the protocol, why wouldn't he be healthy enough? Like he was healthy enough to play a week ago. Like how bad could his like physical ability be in like a week? I know COVID is a bad thing here, but it's like, is it really going to be all that bad? So again, right now, without knowing whether or not Ben Roethlisberger is playing, I'm just kind of reading the tea leaves based on the spread. When you see a spread move that much, it kind of almost says to me that Ben is more likely to not play here than he is to play, which is why I'm a little confused that the movement is going in one direction. The coach is saying something else, but he's kind of leaving a back door open that maybe he's not going to play. Do you have any thoughts on whether or not he's going to play? Because to me, that's the first question we have to ask before we can even say which side of this game we want to be on, right?
Yeah, I do not know. I think these coaches, they use it as one of their pawns that they're not giving out who if he's even
Mhm.
halfway healthy to play or not. So very frustrating there. I'm not sure. I think we're all kind of sitting here just waiting at this point, but it's a big game. So I think if he can play, I think he's going to play.
Mhm.
This could help dictate seeding in the playoff race down the stretch. Steelers sit in the second place in the AFC North, but it's a close race there. So they're in a must-win basis each week. And the Chargers have one of the toughest divisions in the NFL. All teams are basically fighting for that top spot. So, but the Pittsburgh's going to be without TJ Watt, I'm pretty sure, with an injury. And then Minka Fitzpatrick, he tested positive for COVID, so he's probably
Mhm.
out. I think all that being said, it could be a closer game than most people think if Ben Roethlisberger is playing. But I think this is another one we sit and watch. But I think either way, the Chargers win. So I think they could cover. I would bet on the Chargers right now.
Yeah, I'm so conflicted on this game because there's a lot of times when like I feel like the Chargers and I feel like they do this every year, right? Like every year we're like, oh, they got a really good defense. The offense came out the first couple weeks and looked phenomenal. We're like, hey, we love the quarterback. We love all his weapons. They got a whole bunch of good pass catchers. Austin Eckler, really good out of the backfield, really good running back. Like every single guy on their team was drafted in fantasy this year, including the backup tight end. Like, you know, and then they go out there and play, and it's like, how does this team have so much talent and just not do anything with it? So the Chargers have been another one of those teams that have been very tough for me to kind of nail down. And like I said, without knowing what's going on the Pittsburgh side, I don't know. I mean, I'm with you. I think the Chargers win this game, but like at this point, I don't have a bet on it. I'm just going to kind of be sitting on the sidelines, enjoying this game on Sunday, and kind of having a beer, hoping Ben Roethlisberger plays because after watching Mason Rudolph play last week, I can tell you people could say whatever they want about Ben being washed. Ben is still a much better quarterback than Mason Rudolph is. Still gives
Definitely.
still gives Pittsburgh a much better chance to win. So we'll have to see how that works out. So there you go. That wraps it up for all the games that Brooke and I wanted to hit on this week. Brooke, let everybody know where they can find you on Twitter and Instagram and every other place on social media.
Yeah, find me at Brooke Kromer, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, all of it. I will be drinking a lot of those beers this weekend because my Rams aren't playing. So I think I'll just sit back, relax, and enjoy a bye week like them. But I got a couple bets on these. So it'll still be a fun weekend. But
Well, you will be in a much better situation than I am because the last
yeah,
time I saw you having a drink and kicking back and watching football games, it was on a beach, which is a
yes.
lot better than me sitting in my living room and watching them right here. But I will join you for one of those beers. You guys can find me on Twitter at BennyR11 and make sure you guys get over to FTN Bets, FTN Daily, FTN Fantasy. You can see the code on the bottom of the screen. You can sign up, get a 20% discount on any package that we have going off over there. Come on, come join the team, come join the party,
Yeah.
come win with us, come have some fun with us. You can get into the Discord. The Discord's always great. Always a lot of people in there talking sports, whether it be NBA, which is in full swing right now. NHL, I want to give a shout out to Chris Meany, who is absolutely crushing the props on the NHL side of it. MMA, tennis. We started our new gold package this week as well. So get over there, check it out. There's a little something for everybody, no matter what sport you like, no matter how you like to play it, whether it be fantasy or betting. We got you covered over at the FTN Network. So for Brooke, this is Benny signing off for Betting with Brooke and Benny here at FTN Bets.